Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Dan Dare, the complete collection. In this case, this is the Venus campaign. This is by Frank Hampson. And a while back, when I was doing, I forget if it was a Judge Dredd comic or a French bande dessinée, I remember a commenter recommending Dan Dare to me, and saying it was a pretty famous British comic, and eventually went back and ran this down on Amazon, and this is a pretty nice omnibus. I forget how much I got this for. I think so US MSRP is actually $59.99, but I actually got this for a lot less than $59.99. I think I got this for like I forget how much it was. I felt like it was like $30 is what I got it for. That being said, honestly, this feels like it's almost worth the $59.99 price. Because first off, the hardcover is nice. The print quality is very, very nice. And color me impressed. So this comic, Dan Dare, was originally published as The Eagle. That was the name of the I guess, weekly strip that came out in the UK. And very, very old comic. This came out in the 50s. I believe 1950 was the first strip. In fact, I'm going to go to the first strip to show you. And it should have the date on it. Yep, April 14th, 1950. That's number one. Sold for 3 pence. I'm assuming, man, I'm not really familiar with, I only know the pound is the currency in the UK. Is pence like the penny? I'm assuming it is, because 3 cents would make sense for a comic of the 50s. But yeah, this comic has actually a fascinating history to it. When it came out, it was kind of a smash hit in the UK, and for several years they were just printing millions of these books in the UK. People were really into it back then. And I can understand why. So let's jump over. This is Frank Hampson, the creator of the comic, way back in the olden days. First off, for a 1950s comic, this is pretty legit art. This is like very much exciting, right? So the Eagle, from what I was reading in here, Frank Hampson, when he was making or creating the Eagle and Dan Dare, he wanted to create a comic that could compete with the horror comics that were coming out of the United States, which everybody back in the days was calling degenerate and ruining the youth of the nation, both on both sides of the pond. The EC horror comics were actually the reason for the Comics Code Authority in the United States. But Dan Dare was sort of the British answer to it. Was kind of my understanding when I was reading through the material in this book. And very interesting. So Frank Hampson was a very devout Christian and did a lot of Christian work in his life and elsewhere. And you can see some of the influences in here. But I think the biggest thing I want to say is this art looks fantastic. It really looks great. I mean, I am thoroughly surprised for a 50s book how good the art is. Because you got to remember, during this time, what was it? It was like shortly after this, Green Lantern came out, I think a while back, and that was Gil Kane. And the Superman books were still fairly... Actually, they weren't that young, but I forget. They weren't super new either. But the comics from DC or National Comics at the time didn't look this good. And that's just kind of my recollection of reading the 50s comics that I have. So the art in here is really, really impressive for the time. Even more impressive, so if you go to the back of the book right here, by the way, there's 2 main sagas that's collected in here. The first one being the Venus campaign, which is just the original name of it, Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future. The other one is Red Moon, or Mystery of the Red Moon, or is Red Moon Mystery? I forget what it is. But yeah, there's 2 big ones in here, and they collect like 50-something strips. Each strip is about 2 pages. So kind of a similar concept of like the 2000 AD format, right? But what's really fascinating is Frank Hampson didn't do things in pen and ink. He painted all of his work. So all these strips that you just saw there, they were painted. I don't know necessarily if it was watercolors, acrylics, or oil, but that painted is like, holy shit, that's like impressive as hell. So yeah, so this is like the American technique, right? It was pencils, pen and ink, and then you go over with the colorist, right? But none of these are, or the majority of these, I should say, are done that way. These are all painted panels and painted strips. Really, really impressive. And surprisingly, also a very exciting story for 1950s, right? It is somewhat, of its time. But I actually found these to be more exciting and more enjoyable than those classic Green Lantern stories that I went over when I did my Discovering Green Lantern series. Not that the Green Lantern stories couldn't be good, but there's just something about this that is very, I don't know how to say it, it's like very wholesome and honest in the storytelling in here. And, not trying to be overly critical of some of the more modern British writers, but a lot of times when people, tell me about, British comics or British strips or something like that, it inevitably leads to like Alan Moore, or it leads to Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, Garth Ennis, and those guys, they're great, and I don't doubt their impact on comics and their great runs, but their styles are not really for me. I find myself kind of, maybe I'm kind of old school or something. I genuinely enjoy, stories of heroism and superheroes, right? And for some of those guys, a lot of them became famous on kind of basically subverting or deconstructing that, right? There's one thing that the British love doing. They like making fun of us Americans. But what's so cool about Dan Dare is it's really not about that at all. It's very much an honest adventure heroism story, and it really is just a blast to burn through all of these strips. Like, you pick this collection up and you'll burn through 30 of these strips before you know it. They're very, very great despite their age, I guess I should say. I want to caveat it, right? So like, if you're one of those guys who you have to have that very modern, sleek, sort of edgy kind of writing or storytelling, this is probably not for you. But for those of you who are looking for a more, honest, I guess, good-hearted sort of storytelling, man, I cannot recommend Dan Dare enough. This has been a enormous surprise. By the way, this is from the stupid freaking sticker that was on this book when I got it. It drove me nuts. I don't know why people keep getting like these freaking stickers with the glue on the back that can't be like peeled off or anything. It's just the worst. And to put it on a hardcover too just drives me up a freaking wall. But enough of that. The whole point being is this was a very, very fun adventure for me to kind of go through here. And I'm actually not done. I've only just finished the Venus campaign and whatnot. Oh, by the way, I've been just bagging on. I should talk about the characters. So, primary character obviously is Dan Dare, British pilot. And this is Sir Hubert, his sort of commander and, in a way, his mentor, right? And then the other important character is his sort of, I forget if it's like technically like his butler or his whatever it is, almost like his Alfred, right? This is Digby. Digby's really a funny character. He kind of provides a lot of comedic relief throughout the show, or the strip, sort of that, sort of what I was saying. And then as we go on ahead, we get introduced to these two characters. This is this Harry? No, not Harry. This is Pierre and Hank. It's not Harry, it's Hank. And Hank is the Texan, the American, and Pierre is the Frenchman. Very cool concept that Frank Hampson gave here, in that it's a very international crew of characters. This is in, of course, a fictional universe where it's a world government, and war is been done with, but the issue with humanity is that they can't make food. The Earth has been depleted, kind of like the Interstellar kind of world, right? Man, this story was like so far ahead of its time. It's really if you think of it that this was created in the 50s, it's actually really impressive when you go through Dan Dare. If you think of it in respect to the history of its time, oh man. And then they also get introduced to Dr. Peabody, who is the woman of the group. You get there's a lot of funny back and forth between Peabody and Hubert in the early parts of this strip. They're actually pretty funny. Oh man, this is I'm kind of smiling right now because I really did enjoy kind of running through all of this, and I don't necessarily want to ruin all of it to you. This is a really old story, so you can always look it up. But if you happen to find this Dan Dare complete collection for sale, absolutely pick it up. It's a piece of comic book history. It's freaking excellent British comic. Really fun and enjoyable read. You'll have a great time reading this thing. I cannot recommend it enough. And thanks to the commenter who recommended it, by the way. This was a really enjoyable read. Anyhow, I've been babbling lately in my videos, so I'm going to try and keep it short here. Not because I don't like it, mainly because this is kind of a long-form story, so I'll just kind of go over the history and for you to check this book out. It's really good. Anyhow, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments on Dan Dare, the complete collection, the Venus campaign, or any of the Dan Dare strips, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.